Hi, everybody. All right, let's get moving on this. Go ahead and set up your notes. 4.1, graphing linear functions. Today is 1/8. And we're going to start with this example. We're only actually going to do 2 examples today. Okay, so in this case, in this equation, x is the input and y is the output. So we're going to make a table of points and then graph them. I want you to set up your table like this, where it kind of looks like a longer table and 2 skinny edges. We're going to have 6 rows in it. This is our inputs, our x's. This is the y, the outputs, and this is the function that we got in here, this rule. We're going to, whatever we have for x, we're going to multiply by -2 and then subtract 3. Over here on the x side, I'm going to fill it in from -2 to +2. And at this point, you should pause the video until your table looks like this. So don't keep watching until your table looks like this. Okay, for the next part, you're going to start plugging in your inputs. So these are the inputs, and these are the outputs. And you're going to plug in the inputs to see what the output would be. So -2 times -2 is 4, and 4 minus 3 is 1. Here I've got, again, -2, that's just the top part here, but instead of x, I'm going to write -1, and then subtract 3. -2 times -1 is +2. +2 minus 3 is -2. All right? No, wait, +2 minus 3 is actually -1. My bad. There we go. All right, next up, we've got -2 times 0 minus 3. Notice that all of these look exactly the same. They're all -2's out front. They're all -3's in the back, but just the number inside the parenthesis changes based on what the input is. -2 times 0 is 0, and then -3. -2 times 1 is -2. -2 minus 3 is -5. -2 times 2 is -4, minus 3 is -7. So in this case, you need to make sure probably that you're using a calculator if you're uncomfortable with negatives. Over here, I'm writing all of my xy points. So the x is here, the y is there, so -2, 1, -1, -1. This one is 0, -3. This one's 1, -5. This one's 2, -7. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to graph these points separately. Now, if you're at home and you don't have graph paper, then you're going to have to wait until you come to school to get graph paper, and today's homework and notes will just be a sketch. If you are at home permanently and you don't have any graph paper, please let me know by an email or by just talking to me, and I will make sure you get some. And if you're coming here like 1 every 3 days a week, then you can get it when you come in, and until then it can be on just sketched. But after 3 days, I shouldn't see any graphs that are sketched anymore, because you will have graph paper one way or another. Okay, so I'm going to start graphing these points. Let's see, -2, 1. It's right there. And then there's -1, -1, 0, -3, 1, -5, and 2, -7, which is a straight line. And then I'm going to use my ruler to connect the points in my graph, like this. All right, so make sure that that your notes are complete for this problem before moving on, because I'm about to move this, so pause if you need to. We're going to try one more example today. And remember, this does need to be written down, so make sure that you are writing this down. Just watching is not okay. Example 2. Okay, this one, we're going to try y equals 1/4 times x plus 3 by making a table. So we're going to do the same thing again. Six rows. Here's my inputs, here's my outputs. Here's my rule, which is 1/4 times x plus 3. I'm going to choose to go again with -2 to +2. As far as what the inputs could be, they could be anything you want them to be, but generally I like to make my inputs -2 to +2 to see kind of what's happening around 0. All right, so I'm going to start plugging it in again. Now, these fractions get a little tough, so why don't you stay with me on this and not do it on your own just for a minute. This is 1/4 times, I'm going to call this x -2/1, because that's the same thing as -2, which will make it a little easier for me, plus 3. So if I multiply across, I get -2/4, which is -2/4, or -1/2, and then if I add 3 to that, I get 2.5. So again, the math on that one was like, if I multiply across, that's -2/4 plus 3, which is -1/2 plus 3, which makes 2.5. All right, I'm going to stick with you one more time here, multiplying the same thing out. I'll do my work over here. That would be -1 on top, 4 on the bottom, plus 3. -1/4 plus 3 is 2 3/4, or 2.75. You put it in your calculator. Okay, so keep going on this, and then go ahead and graph those points, and then we'll come back together. So go ahead and pause this video and finish doing all the points, the graphing, etc. I'm assuming that you paused, so I'm going to keep going. This one's really easy. 1/4 times 0 is 0, and then plus 3 is 3. This one is 1/4 times 1/1. Again, my input is just x here. These are my x's. Plus 3. That is, if I do my math over here, 1/4 plus 3, and that equals 3 1/4, which is the same thing as 3.25. The last one is 1/4 times 2/1